Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true? This report comes from a particularly confidential source both you and I are familiar with, yes. Among the reasons its findings are so alarming. Now, is it true? Was the attack on New Atlantis planned?
My God.
An attack? Using terramorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orles commit these attacks, Captain?
That appears to be the case, ma'am. The captain tracked that information down just after our trip to Londinian.
Reginald Orles? Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Body was found floating around Etheria. Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according to plan.
Ah, yes. I was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orles might have been involved in the attacks? Only that it would have been preferable if you'd managed to find him before he murdered UC citizens. Now, are you going to answer the question for me or not? Did you already suspect Orles? Well, it appears you are ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orles triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the Captain and Major Sanan uncovered.
Simply harrowing.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's justice, it seems both of you are to be commended for ensuring he was dealt with before he could strike again. You have our thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the Cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the Cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased. I'm glad you think so. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the terramorph, and now also heat leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aceles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter. I believe we have a responsibility to do something, yes. Heavens forbid, years from now, someone reopens the Pandora's box that Orle's discovered. It falls to us to enact every measure required to ensure that day never comes.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
The first step in a bold new future.
Bolder, better, and brighter. Well, I need to write that one down for later.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD.
It is a relief to know that the terramorphs are being dealt with. But are you sure this Aceles creature is the right way to do it? Where terramorphs are concerned, I do not believe there is a way to remove risk from the equation. Perhaps an experimental microbe has its own risks, but what of the risks to who knows how many human lives until the Aceles can do its job? It is too soon to know, and at least something is being done. Any effort is better than none. And I must say, I find it curious that you would agree keeping the Lazarus plant around is a good idea. It seems an additional, unnecessary risk. But you could have changed their minds. They would have listened to you. I find it even more concerning that the United Colonies will keep this information secret. They have enough power already. They do not need this in their arsenal. Well, it is good to know that this particular threat is behind us, and you have done a service to all who live in the settled systems.
I'm all ears. Space is so hostile to humanity already, and you made it just a little bit safer for everybody. No matter what you could have done differently, this will impact a lot of lives eventually. We'll have to mark it in the Constellation history books so we don't forget it when the terramorphs are finally gone. Oh, really? I haven't noticed anything. Just kidding, just kidding. You're amazing. Like chocolate-covered prasada berries on an all-you-can-eat spicy chunks buffet. Sorry, I'm a little hungry. Balancing risk versus reward is tricky. Even more so when so much hangs in the balance. So, you really think the Aceles are going to work out, huh? You must have seen some data that I didn't. Everything has a chance to mutate, and most mutations are harmless. But I get it. It's scary. It's definitely riskier than dropping off some wild animals. Oh well, it's done. By sealing the Lazarus plant away instead of destroying it, I'm worried we've made things riskier. That's okay. We're different people and we assess risk and success differently. I'm just glad we're doing something against the terramorphs.
It's a rare thing to know that right here and now might just be the best days of your life. The whole terramorph situation, seriously, hats off to you. When I was growing up, everyone was afraid of terramorphs. How they could seemingly strike anywhere at any time. The carnage, the destruction. The stuff you've done here could save so many lives. Given time, that'll be past tense. Because of you. I don't know about these Aceles. That microbe would wipe out the terramorphs for good and certain. I mean, the Aceles? It'll take longer, take more hand-holding, and there's no saying the Aceles will fully get the job done. I hope for all our sake you made the right call. I guess you're right. Water under the bridge. That's a saying, right? The United Colonies. Hell, everyone and everywhere owes you big time. Even if they don't know it.
The two of us make quite the pair, eh? Sorry to pull you aside like this, but I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you. Taking those steps to eradicate the terramorph threat is essential to the safety of every living thing in the settled systems. You should be proud. Yes, exactly. I'm glad you treated the situation with the urgency it deserved. I only wish that the United Colonies chose to exterminate the terramorphs with the experimental microbe, instead of choosing this ridiculous Aceles solution. Apparently, their decision was based on your recommendation. That was a risky choice you've made. Minimal risk. Are you sure? The Aceles solution might take years, perhaps even decades. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking for humankind. That sounds far too risky to me. I'm sorry to hear that, but what's done is done. The Aceles method has been deployed, so we'll have to wait and see if it's effective. Unfortunately, locking away the Lazarus plant instead of eliminating it adds to the risk. Anything that accelerates the terramorph life cycle should have been completely removed from the equation. Why take the chance? I'm sorry, but yes. Your decision has denied us any type of safety net. I honestly would have preferred a more scorched earth policy to ensure the end to those horrible creatures. Of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to listen to my opinion on the matter. I'm sorry if I've hurt you in any way. I wouldn't want anything like this to come between us.